Hello, everybody. How you guys doing today? This is Darcinovia here. I am back with another stream. Hello. Um, the reason why it's not on Ewoks Unhinged because Ewoks Unhinged is pretty packed in terms of its schedule, and there's no room for a video like this on Ewoks Unhinged. So rather than have this get overshadowed or have this video overshadow B-Level's upcoming video, I decided to do this on my channel. Therefore, it avoids these contradictions altogether. Now, today, I'm going to be talking about America being a failed state. Hello. And I'm going to be talking about the problems in this country on how we got here, at least from my perspective. Now, one thing I'm going to make it clear here. This is an open invite stream. So anybody that wants to come on, give their own take, I'm willing to give you a platform. As long as you're not a fascist or a Nazbol. Because I have a zero tolerance policy for those people here. Now, support B-Level's stream later today. And, well, let's get started on the topic of the stream. America being a failed state and the sociopathic politicians that are running America. But then again, can we really be honest here? I think America has always had, a Nazi announcement problem in this country. Well, not Nazi, you know what I mean. A psychopathic problem, but it's just becoming more apparent, as time goes on. Mandalorian, okay, this is not a Star Wars stream. This is a political stream. So please, if you're not serious about this topic, I suggest you leave because this is not going to be about Star Wars. Anyway, now, America has always had a problem with sociopathic politicians. It was very difficult to notice these things because a thing like social media did not exist, 100 years ago or 50 years ago. This has become more apparent in the past, decade of us seeing the darker side of American society, out in the open. It isn't even, obvious anymore. I mean, sorry, it isn't even I just woke up. It isn't even hidden anymore. This contempt for the poor in America has always been there. It's just ever since the fall of the Soviet Union, the ruling class, feel like they are, more entitled than ever before to take more than what they've actually put in. Hey, Pride Tunes, what's up, man? Yes. Anyway, now, America, as we all know, in 2020, it's been one disaster after another, with over 250,000 Americans dead, which I strongly suspect the number is in the millions, but we'll never truly know, how many people died of COVID-19 because our government just wants to cover it up. And if they were to actually reveal the real numbers, there would be a panic. So I can understand that. Now, the problem with America is I think the sociopathic part of American culture has always existed. And it's just becoming more apparent in the past few years because, Trump, let's be honest here, say what you will about Trump. I think he's a disgusting human being. I think he is, one of the worst, that humanity has to offer. Honestly. But let's be honest here. What is America in general? What is America as a country? Think about it. What has America truly done for humanity other than hold back progress, put down legitimate rebellions around the world, and even in its own country? Trump has just revealed the true face of America. It's always been ugly. It's always been fascist. It's never been anything but that. Then again, there's people You guys are welcome to disagree with me, which that's cool. I mean, in a pandemic where millions can lose their homes, millions, will permanently be unemployed as a result of getting laid off, or as a result of, being a certain age or not having certain skills. COVID-19 has been ravaging many people throughout the country. And the ruling class, whether it's the Democrats or Republicans, let's be honest here, they're both the same. It's just one side just is more open about their hatred for workers than the other. Let's be honest here, none of them give a fuck if we live or die. None of them give a fuck. Joe Biden is a racist imperialist that is filling his cabinet with warmongers. The same kind of people that are continuing with these wars that most of the population don't fucking want. Honestly. And I don't make it a secret here. In America, I don't think America is a country that should be saved or deserves to be saved. Because honestly, America as a society, what does it truly have? Honestly, that's worth saving. Consumerism is like one of the biggest defining features of American culture. I mean, nobody who lives in America can deny it. I live in America, and consumerism is a disease. Oh yes, we do need to reach out to the millennials and Gen Z, because Prager University is spreading fascist propaganda to the youth in order to get them away from radical leftism. And here's the problem here, honestly, that the left faces. And I think the left in America, I'm speaking for leftists in America, need to understand America is not a country that is worth saving. And if you are a leftist in America, you are the enemy of America. You are not pro-America. If you are a communist and you want to overthrow the capitalist system in the United States, you are not American. You are against everything this country represents. And I think it's naive to actually fight to preserve America, especially if you're a communist. It would make sense if you're a liberal or a conservative to want to preserve America. But being a communist and wanting to preserve America, that shit is cringe. I'm sorry. It really is cringe. And honestly, affirmative action. Honestly, I'm not qualified to speak about this. I would rather let, a person of color speak about this, because as somebody that most of the population, and pretty much everyone considers white, I'm not qualified to talk about affirmative action. I'm not. I'm not qualified. Is there a country that you think we should? I don't think America should exist. I'm sorry. I know this is a radical concept for some of my viewers who've never watched Ewoks Unhinged, but I don't think America as a country should even exist. America's entire history is based off colonialism, fascism, imperialism. There's nothing about American history that, is worth looking at and looking at in awe. I mean, America it's just a country that has stolen from other people's, cultures. It's stolen other people's land. Everything America is nothing but thievery. Honestly, what is America, honestly, other than, racism, genocide, and fascism? America is a country that doesn't actually fight against evil. It doesn't actually fight to resist evil. It is evil. It inspires evil. Why does every evil regime to have ever existed since America came into existence, why is it supported by the United States? Why is it inspired by the United States? The most evil regime of the 20th century, the Nazi regime, they were inspired by Americans' racist laws. They were inspired by the genocide of the Native Americans. It's like, if we're willing to say that the Nazis are evil, if we're willing to say that what Israel is doing to the Palestinians is evil, why the hell aren't we doing the same to America? What the natives are still going through right now, they're going through an ongoing genocide that has never ended. It has never stopped. And the Native Americans are fighting to this day just to survive. And what makes me sick about America is most of the population that lives in America don't even know who the hell they are, honestly. And everything I said at my stream like a few weeks ago, I still stand by it, and I will not change my mind on it. I don't think, there's any hope of revolution in America. I don't think the American working class is revolutionary outside the lumpen proletariat. The lumpen, which is as I'm in the lumpen, are the people that are always on the edge of death or homelessness, or both. Then again, and COVID-19, being homeless might as well be condemning you to death. I know this is something that a lot of white leftists don't want to hear, and I'm sorry, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this now. Unless you are trying to get as many of the lumpen as possible on your side, you're not going to have a chance of even having a revolutionary movement in America, because it's the lumpen right now that are resisting against this fascist government. It's the lumpen that are fighting against the fascist police in Arizona and LA and God knows where else. It is not the freaking regular working class people. And let's get something clear here. The middle class are not our friends. They are our enemies. And I know that's a radical thing to say, but you know what? The middle class in America are our enemies. They're the most reactionary. They are the fascist vanguard. They'll be the first class of people to side against us. They'll be the first class of people that will gladly throw themselves against the fascists. Against the communists, against the socialists, against the anarchists. They don't actually want a revolution because it goes against their interests. I'd like to say I don't think we're going to lose in the end. A lot of us will die, undeniably. But you know what? Here's one thing, Pride Tunes, we have that, that the fascists don't have, the capitalists don't have. We actually have something to fight for. What do they have to fight for? Riches that they can't take with them to their graves. They have nothing. They have nothing but their riches. They have nothing. We have a future to fight for. We have families to fight for. We have, a planet to fight for. They have nothing. The only thing these people are fighting for is to preserve, their wealth. Okay, let's be honest here. That shit won't be worth anything in a nuclear apocalypse. In a nuclear apocalypse, you know what's going to be worth money? Be worth anything? It's going to be money. Sorry, it's not going to be money. It's going to be water and whatever fuel source that's left on Earth, whether it's gasoline or whatever. Think of Mad Max or Fist of the North Star or any other post-apocalyptic, science fiction that you've seen, where this wealth isn't going to be worth anything. Water is going to be worth more than gold. Robin Williams said this decades ago, that one day water will be, worth more than gold. And it is. What good is freaking imaginary wealth on an island when you can't even use it? And here's the thing. None of these people that are, fighting against the majority of the world's population, they have nothing to fight for except, wealth that they can never use in their lifetime, even if they spend it every single day. Thank you, man. Thanks. Okay, I know there's people that are better than me that can say the same thing I'm saying, but I'm speaking from the heart here that, yes, what we're up against is possibly the most powerful empire in history, the most evil empire in history, the most. I'm starting to try to get in touch with my Irish roots. The most satanic empire in history. America is everything that is evil. If you read the Bible or the Quran or the Torah, whatever religious text you read, and when it talks about evil or sin, America is everything. America is, sloth, gluttony, envy, greed, pride, and what's the other one? Lust. I think I've missed one of the deadly sins. I missed one of them. I've missed one of them. But every deadly sin that you've heard about, it applies to America. No other country on earth is as greedy as America, or as envy as America, or as wrathful as America. America can't even stand the very idea of people they look at as inferiors actually accomplishing what they couldn't. So Americans have to downplay, achievements made by, third world people, by people that they saw as lesser than. Okay, let's be honest here. Compare the Soviets' achievements in the space race to America's achievements. I mean, on the surface level, it may not seem that impressive, but think about it for a second. Russia, when it sent a satellite in space, 40 years prior to that, they were a feudalistic, peasant state that was the poorest, country in Europe. And they managed to do such an amazing feat under a short amount of time. That is the power of the people. That is the power of socialism. Compare that to capitalism. We landed on the moon, but not as a result of capitalism. It's because it was all about proving to the world that communism is inferior to capitalism. It was as an ideological war. Because ever since the moon landing, what have we actually done? Honestly, we never actually, went to Mars. Figured that would be the next step, or actually putting a base on the moon, or doing anything of the sort. We focused on the one thing that capitalism, does best: war. War. Capitalism can't exist without war. Honestly. And I don't feel like you could truly be an anti-war activist if you support capitalism, because capitalism needs war in order to stay afloat. If it weren't for war, capitalism would have collapsed, almost a century ago. Before World War II, we were doing badly as a country. And the thing that, that I know that our enemies like to, smear us for, that, we're only socialists because we're lazy and entitled. I haven't seen a group of more entitled and lazy people than capitalists. Capitalists think that because they're part of an elite class, that they're entitled to get more than the people that they exploit. The capitalists, view themselves as freaking gods. They don't see themselves as anything but gods. The irony is the capitalists are not gods. They bleed and die just like you or me. There's nothing I think the capitalists fear, and I'm being honest here, than death. Capitalists fear death. Us communists do not fear death, because us communists, or anarchists, I don't care what you are. As far as I'm concerned, if you are against this government, if you're against capitalism, you're my comrade. I may not agree with the anarchists, ideally, but you know what? The anarchists do, they have their hearts in the right place. And their criticisms are, something worth listening to. Mao Zedong, he said this: no investigation, no right to speak. And I still stand by what I said, that the anarchists, everybody that shits on the anarchists, they're not a comrade for me, because the anarchists are the ones that are fighting right now against this government. And I don't want to hear someone throwing Stalin's book. Hey, Stalin said this about the anarchists 100 years ago. Blah, 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 blah. La, 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 la. I'm going to treat Stalin like he's a fucking god, even though freaking he was a human being that made some serious mistakes. Yeah. Okay. I might get into that more into the future when I'm more well-read on third worldism. But I'm just saying I'm just sick and tired of seeing, people shitting on the anarchists when they're putting their bodies on the line against the most powerful empire in history. We cannot afford to be picky about our allies, people. America is letting millions of people out to dry. We still have not gotten a stimulus check. A stimulus check. Like, I don't know if you guys heard of this, but let's be real. They are offering half of the first stimulus check. The first stimulus check, most of the people that got it spent it relatively quickly because, shocker, $1,200 is not going to freaking last, for a very long time. $600, $600 is like a lot of people's paycheck every 2 weeks. It is disgusting, honestly. And I feel like if you're not angry at this system, then you support the system. And this is why I view anybody that isn't, shouting loud about how unjust this system is are a bunch of fucking bootlickers. Anyone that punches down, on people is my enemy. And that's all the right is doing right now. Like, I had a discussion with my coworker, one of my coworkers, about what we need to do about the the upcoming eviction crisis. And you know what? When you offer solutions for problems, these people's like, oh, but where's the money going to come from? Yet none of these people actually ask, oh, what about the Nobody asks, oh, the amount of money we spend on the military. Nobody asks about that. Nobody asks about, oh, what about these corporations that get bailed out? Libertarians are the people we shouldn't be listening to. Libertarians don't add anything to the conversation. Libertarians have no solutions except downsides the government, fuck the government, down with the government. Yet they don't have any solutions of fixing the problems that are currently, destroying, this country. Okay, you know what? Fuck this country. I don't care if it gets destroyed. I care about the people, that are suffering right now. My mother, she recently passed away, is fortunate not to be in this world because this is a hellscape. If this is hell, I think America is a open air prison. If you're poor, you have no way of moving out of the ladder because you're a permanent member of the lumpen working class permanently. Oh God. I'm okay. I will not. I know what you're. I do think simping for China is cringe. China is not socialist, but I'm not going to talk about China. I don't know enough about China for me to talk about China. What countries should we build to replace America? I don't think any country should replace America. My belief is to give the land back to the Native Americans. Let them have their land back. And let them decide what should be done. And that's what my beliefs are. The true owners of this land, the Native Americans, they should have their land back. We shouldn't replace America. We should give the land that was stolen from the natives back to the natives. Because if you ask me, them and only them are the only ones that should decide what should be done with this country. And I believe we should build a new Africa as well. No, well, not me. And here's the thing: what I propose is, for once in our existence, the white left need to step aside and let let blacks and the indigenous lead the revolution. They should be the ones that build a new country in the place of America. Only blacks should be able to decide where they want New Africa to be. The Native Americans, only they should decide who lives on this land and who doesn't. That's what I personally believe. The white left are fucking useless. Yes, I'm outright admitting that I'm useless. Because without support from the indigenous or black communities, we don't have shit. Because I'm going to be real here, the reactionaries that are part of these communities are going to be weaponized against the white left. And that is why it is imperative that the white left listen to these communities and not exclude them and not ignore them, because they don't have the perfect line on communism. Yeah, that's how I feel. The white left should not be in charge. It should be the indigenous and the black left that should be in charge. They know these problems far better than we do. And you know what? They're not afraid to tell us how evil America is as a country and how this country needs to be destroyed. I was introduced to this radical idea by a YouTuber by the name of Black Red Guard. I know Black Red Guard probably wouldn't like me, but I don't blame him. I don't blame Black Red Guard for not liking, the white left, because what I've seen from the white left for the past few years, is nothing but chauvinism for the most part. And I could say this as somebody on the white, who's white, I don't think of myself as white, but to be honest, whether I say I'm Irish or white, it's irrelevant to what people like Black Red Guard think. They don't give a fuck if I reject whiteness. If people like me continue to act like the exact stereotype of a white leftist. I know I've been shitting on white leftists a lot in this, rant, but I'm just stating things how they are. The only thing I will say about my job, it's retail. One of the worst kind of jobs possible. And that's where my radicalization against, America has started. And here's the thing that a lot of, and I'm just going to say this, a lot of elitists and, conservatives, that basically say the communists are just a bunch of lazy, men and women that haven't worked a day in their lives. Most communists are poor. Most communists are on the edge, of homelessness, one paycheck away from homelessness. In fact, a lot of these conclusions that I came up with before I became a communist. Communism just gave more context for why I'm poor, why things are the way they are. Every single straw man you hear about, socialism, you are hearing about it from people who have never actually read, socialist literature. Now, there is some criticisms you could give to communist theory, but most of the people that criticize communist theory have never actually read it. The Bundists can give a good criticism, and I've talked to a Bundist. The Navajos can give a good criticism, but the right can never criticize, communism, because they don't know what communism is. They think XXX is communism, even though it's not. I know. I hate retail. It's fucking awful. And I think it just reinforces this sociopathic culture of America. Not only are the workers awful, yeah, I will say this: the workers are awful. Not all of them that I work with are terrible. It's just they're out of touch. They don't understand just how bad things really are, because they could afford maybe to not get their full amount of money they normally get for their paycheck. I can't miss one day for me is enough for me to be on the line of being homeless. It's not a service. It's not. Honestly, all this shit has radicalized me. And there's been multiple times that I have stopped working for my employer for a set amount of time. The first being, I didn't have a place to live and I had to live with my sister for a few months. The other was COVID-19. And I was forced to go back because my debt, with back rent was so damn high that I had no choice but to go back to work. Oh, the customers are far worse. Definitely. The customers treat, and Pride Tunes could contest to this. They treat, retail workers like we're the scum of the earth. They treat us like, they could do whatever they want. They talk down to us. And even though I brought this up on my War on Nerd stream, but not everyone here has watched that. Fuck customer rights. I'm for workers' rights. And if you're not for the rights of the workers, you could go fuck yourself, because we're putting our bodies on the line, especially in COVID-19. We're putting our bodies on the line, and for what? For scraps, just so we can enrich an already fucking greedy ass employer who has probably barely worked a day in their life. I hate retail work. I fucking despise it. I hate it. But if you're a lumpen proletariat and you are a person who has a learning disability and you're permanently put in the system, do you have any idea how difficult it is for a person who is learning disabled to get a job without assistance from the state? And I will say this right now. People with disabilities are lumpen. But most of these people will never wake up because they're indoctrinated into the system. And I know this because I've had people basically tell me, know my place. Don't have bigger aspirations. Honestly. Yeah, they are awful. But there's certain employees that are worse. There are some employees that I'm cool with, but to be honest, even the ones that I'm cool with, they don't fully understand just how awful capitalism is, because they don't suffer from the worst of capitalism. I'm fully aware. And that is why if you wake up from, how awful this system is and you're learning disabled, it's hell. Honestly, unless you have support, unless you have people that you have support emotionally, you'll be alone because nobody will take you seriously. And I know this from experience that people with disabilities that are more aware of their circumstances are not taken seriously because we're looked at as stupid. We're looked at as retards. And I'm going to say this, even though I'm revealing something personal. I've had people underestimate me my entire life because I was labeled as mentally retarded. These are not my words. These are the words of the people of my schools. This sociopathic culture that's forced on us just damages us, destroys our self-esteem to the point where we have no confidence in ourselves. I'm fortunate that I've been digging myself out of this hole. But most people who are disabled, we're not stupid. We have a different method of learning. We learn in a different way, but our self-esteem is completely destroyed. This is the result of what a sociopathic culture could potentially do to somebody. You know, if you're learning disabled, your freaking self-confidence is completely non-existent, which is why you'll accept any kind of job that's given to you. Because to not accept makes you entitled, makes you having an attitude that what they're offering to you isn't good enough. I know this from experience that these government programs don't help you if you're disabled. They talk down to you. They treat you like you are an idiot, like you're a piece of property. They don't treat you as anything more than that. I know, I'm revealing a lot of personal information here, but I'm just saying how it is. I'm giving it from a context of a communist, of why things are the way they are. Honestly, if you are learning disabled, unless you have support from these programs, you're kind of fucked. You're stuck permanently under this, poverty that's forced on you. It's not a choice. And that is why it angers me every time I see a conservative or a liberal tell me that I am not working hard enough when I've done everything I fucking can to dig myself out of this hole, but I can't dig myself out of this hole because the system is so powerful that just by putting that I have autism could actually, have these people think twice about hiring me. That is the problem that we live in under this system. The sociopathic system that's forced on us basically destroys any potential we have before we even have a chance to enter the workforce. That is why, we don't have America as a whole is a society, fuck you, I have mine. It's one of the reasons why I have grown radical to the point where I say death to America, because America has never done anything for me or any of my family. It's fucked my family. It's fucked, everybody. But I'm speaking from a personal experience. All my family have been fucked by this country. My cousins who are black, have been fucked by this system. My, siblings have been fucked by this system because of child protective services, being a victim of that, which is why I said being part of the system. The system hasn't done anything positive for me. So that's why I asked a reactionary, why should I fucking be pro-America when America has never fought for me? They've always left me, to high to dry. And that these people that I'm talking about would gladly, look the other way if I die in the street. That is why I'm a communist. I'm not a communist because I think it's edgy to rage against the state, or it's edgy to be against what my parents are against. My parents, especially my dad, even though he's reactionary, he has issues with this country, but though he's not anti-American, but he does have issues. That's why I question people who still want to save this country. Why? And I do think it's all stems from experience. Those who have not experienced the horrors of this system are, more likely to want to fight to save America than they are to destroy it. I'm not just saying like, oh, we should just like commit acts of violence for no fucking reason. No, I'm for self-defense. In fact, I hate violence and would rather use violence as a last resort. Violence, to me, should only be used as an act of defense. I don't believe in being the aggressor. I believe in being the defender. For me, I would probably get my ass kicked if I had to be honest. I'm not a good fighter. I know that. The only thing I could fight is my words. But that's not enough, honestly, if we're fighting against this, you know, giant of a system. We are the giant. And I just don't think people have the balls to say it. America is a sociopathic society. Not saying that people in America are sociopathic, but I'm saying the system that America, has a sociopathic. It has a indifference to, the vulnerable, whether they're, disabled or the elderly. You want to know how you could tell how evil a society is? How does it treat its vulnerable? Say what you will about, Japan or any other Asian cultures. They take care of their own. America, we don't even have that. The family unit, which, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, anybody that wants to destroy the family is also an enemy of mine. Because the family, especially in this fascist state, is all you have. You need the support emotionally. You may have different reasonings for wanting to fight against the system while you want to see it destroyed. For me, I want my family to live in a better country or a better world. I don't want to see them constantly be, tramped on by this fascist state. I don't want to see them be constantly bullied by this fascist state. I don't want to see them have their lives, be predetermined by the state. I want freedom for my family. And anybody that, says, fuck family, fuck culture, no, fuck you. The family unit is important. And the capitalists know it's important. The capitalists don't want the family system in place. There's a huge difference between wanting to preserve the family, in the context of a capitalist compared to the context of a lumpen. Because when you're very poor, your family is all you have. Your family is all the support that you'll get for the most part, and your friends. Not having that, isolates you as a revolutionary. And revolutionaries that are isolated are the ones that will get killed. That's why they don't want, that's why they don't want the family system in place. That's why, they discourage people living together because, if you live with your parents, you're a loser. You're a leech. That's how they twist it. They don't want you to actually have a system to fall back on. No system is more efficient than living with your family. You want to know why Asians, Americans, why they're not as bad off as the rest? It's because they stick together. They don't leave their families. They always stick together. And financially, it's the most efficient way of, having more, wealth. But the capitalists don't want, the family system to be in place, because if the family system was in place, the families would again become revolutionary. You'd have a family of revolutionaries. They don't want to, just, if they had one member of the family being a revolutionary, that's fine. But they don't want a whole family of revolutionaries. Please. Why do you think, they've been fighting so hard for the past 40 years to prevent, another Malcolm X from coming about in the black community? Because they don't want a revolutionary like him to arise. That's why the drug war exists. This racist system is doing everything to keep, people down. This system's at war with everybody that isn't rich. America, don't take it wrong. Sorry, don't you know, believe it for a second that everything that's been doing in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and every other country that it's possibly at war with, ones we probably don't know about, they won't eventually, start waging wars in North America. Don't believe it for a second they won't fracture terrorist groups in North America as a way to continue the war machine. When they're unable to continue the wars in the Middle East, they'll like manufacture a terrorist group in America and they'll justify, war in America. Don't think they won't. That's how insane the freaking military industrial complex is. War is all they freaking care about. They don't care what country they bomb. They'd be willing to do it to America if it made them a profit. And I know, say what you will about Russia. Okay, say what you will about, Putin. Unlike America, many leaders of many different countries, they actually love their country. I support, Maduro, despite the criticisms I may have of Maduro, despite the fact that I think he should stop tolerating the opposition and actually do something about them. I support Maduro for the reason is this. Maduro loves his people. He loves his country. Can you say the same about any of our presidents? They don't love America. They don't love the people. They'd sell this country to the highest bidder if it suited them. No American president, in the past 40 years has truly been loyal to this country. And I don't care about American loyalty here. But I'm just talking about the difference between an American president to someone like Maduro, to Putin, to the prime minister of Iran. All these people, what they all have in common, the reason why they're so hated by the establishment in America, they love their people. They will fight for their country. They will not let an outsider take over their country. And you know what? Those are the real patriots. The people that are truly loyal to their country are the real patriots. And you want to know what? The real patriots of America, they have no chance in hell of ever becoming president. Jesse Ventura, he's an American patriot. He has no chance of ever becoming president. Why? Because he actually would care about his country. He actually would fight for his people. He actually would end the wars. He would fight for things that people want. No American president we've had in my lifetime has actually cared about this country or its people. America, more than any country in the world, cannot stomach the idea. And those who live in other countries, you guys could speak for yourselves because you may have a different experience than me. Whether you're in Canada or in France or in England or in Spain or Italy, no country in the world has a disdain for representatives of the people more than America. Because at the end of the day, America is against any form of dissent. It's against of any form of representation for the people. They're against anything that empowers the people. America is the stereotypical schoolyard bully. America has loyalty to nobody. It has loyalty to nobody but itself. And that's what America is. And that's why America is what it is. That's why America has so many problems. That's why America as a country is so fucked up. Because it pushes the ideology, fuck you, I have mine. You can't push this unhealthy, mentality about, people caring about nobody but themselves and not expect, I don't know, people maybe killing themselves because they don't feel like they are valuable, or people, being depressed, doing all sorts of narcotics, doing anything to, try to relieve the pain that this country has caused them. America doesn't do anything but cause misery. Americans are the most miserable people on the planet, despite being the richest. Look at the people of Venezuela. Those people are poor. Yet look at those people. Look how their expression, look at their demeanor, compare it to your average American. Your average American is angry. Your average American is depressed. Your average American is demented. Yet even the poorest countries, the people are much happier despite having almost nothing. That's why consumerism is so prevalent in America, because that's the only way to be valuable in this society. Oh, look at this. Look what I have. Look what I bought. That's why you have people with gambling addictions. That's why you have people that have, addictions when it comes to buying shit. Compulsive buyers. It's like, I don't know why I want this. I'm just going to buy it just cuz. And America is so far, down the rabbit hole when it comes to the far right that liberalism, a mild form of liberalism, is too radical. Think about this. AOC, Bernie Sanders, they're too radical for America. When you're so far to the right that even being on the center is being too far to the left, that's when you know America is doomed as a country. That's when you know you're doomed. That's when you know that America will never, ever, ever become a socialist country. It never will. Not without a socialist revolution. Not without destroying everything that America is. And by that point, it wouldn't be America anymore. So saving America is an oxymoron, because you can't save America. If you want to make this place a better place to live for the average person, you'd have to tear the whole damn thing down. You'd have to have a revolution that would make China's look like child's play. Because we need a cultural revolution if we even want to even have a chance of having socialism. But America will not have a socialist revolution. The whole thing would have to collapse first. Because even now, even with COVID-19, even when 250,000 people are dying, you still have dumb shits still denying there's anything wrong with America. You still have people that won't acknowledge the evils of capitalism and how capitalism just pushes the worst in humanity and the cold-blooded indifference of our politicians in this country. Our politicians are nothing more than fascist collaborators. Now, I'm not saying this because I support Trump, but you don't want to know one thing that would have made a huge difference for Trump and how he could have won, the election easily? You know what he could have done? And I'm going to be real, how he could have won this election. If at the start of this pandemic, Trump signed an executive order to have a stimulus check every month until the pandemic is over. Whether that was struck down or not is completely irrelevant. Trump would have looked like a hero. And there would have been no way the Democrats could have had a chance to win if Trump tried to do that. If Trump actually gave the image of that he's a champion for the people. But in America, you won't even have people even pretending to care. That's how far America has fallen in the fascist pipeline. That their face off and say, fuck you, you're on your own. That's just how America is as a country. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't care. Okay, yeah, you're right, but here's the problem. Not every boomer is like this. It's the reactionaries in the boomer generation. My parents are okay, my dad and my mom, who's now not with us anymore. My dad is a baby boomer, and my dad hates his generation with a passion. He despises his generation. He hates them. There are baby boomers that hate other baby boomers. And you're right. Baby boomers are a problem. Baby boomers do not fucking... They are out of touch with reality. They don't know what the hell is going on. They don't know, that how badly, Gen Z and millennials have it. My generation's fucked. The generation that has come after me is even more fucked. And the generation after Gen Z is even more fucked. What we need what we actually need is... Okay, sorry. I lost my train of thought. What we actually need is the United States needs to die off for humanity to survive. Because let's be honest, there's reactionaries in my generation. There's reactionaries in Gen Z. I know this because I live with these kind of people. I interact with these kind of people. It isn't just the boomers that need to die off. America as a country needs to die off. Now, to give context to those who are not familiar when I say death to America, I don't mean everybody in America should die. I don't believe in the people should die. Death to America is death to the country, death to the ideas. Because America is everything that is evil in this world. America inspires evil. It doesn't fight against evil, it inspires evil. And those who support America are supporting evil. Now, there are those out there who still believe America can be saved, and all power to them. I wish I could believe what they believe, but I can't. As someone, that lives in Orange County, I live in Orange County, and in Southern California. I could tell you some of the worst people I've ever had to deal with, I've ever had to talk to, some of the most shallow, some of the most out of touch, are people who live in Orange County. Orange County is one of the most reactionary, places I've ever lived in my life. And I lived in Jefferson City, Missouri, which was pretty damn reactionary. But holy shit. The people who live in Orange County, don't believe the stories you've heard. Don't believe what you hear about Orange County. The average person in Orange County that isn't lumpen working class are out of touch liberals or conservatives that don't see that they're living in a crumbling castle. And I think that's what America is in a nutshell. We live in a castle that is crumbling above, below us. And it's going to... And the people who want to actually preserve the castle, want to actually prevent it from collapsing, are not being heard. And this is the problem with America as a country. Those who genuinely do want to save this country, they're not going to be heard. They're not going to be listened to. They're going to be talked as, they're too radical. Oh, they must hate America. Those who actually genuinely do want to save America, the Jesse Venturas, the Caleb Maupins, they genuinely want to save America. They genuinely do want to save America. They will not be heard because the people who run this country don't care about saving America themselves. And that's the thing I think most people don't seem to understand. The ruling class don't care if this country burns because they have no loyalty to America as a country. American politicians are not loyal to America. They're not. They're not loyal to America. Those who are loyal to America are a small minority. If America were to collapse tomorrow, I doubt you would see people, but a small fraction of the population fight to preserve this country. Because your average American isn't truly loyal to America. Honestly, they wouldn't care one way or the other if this country collapsed, because why should they when this country doesn't care about them? Here's the problem with that argument. How do you expect someone who's part of the lumpen working class, who's poor, chronically poor, to pack up their bags and leave? Even if I were to leave everything I have behind, I still have a brother. I still have family that live in this country. Do I leave them behind? Do I leave them to basically burn in the inevitable collapse of the most evil empire in history? Do I do that? That's the problem with that argument. If you don't like it, leave it. Some of us have different reasons for staying. If I didn't have family, if I didn't have people I loved and cared about, I would leave. But I have people that love me. I can't leave because they're here, and I don't want them to suffer through this evil alone. And even if I wanted to leave, I couldn't because, again, I'm poor. And not to mention COVID-19 banning most Americans from leaving the country. Yes, they do. How much do I plan on live streaming? I think I'm getting close. I'm pretty much getting close to the end, pretty much. Honestly, this feels more like a speech than a live stream. But you know what? I guess that isn't so bad. Now, okay. America is a failed state. What can be done about it? What can we do about it? What can we do to prepare ourselves for the inevitable collapse? Well, I'm not suggesting every one of you get a gun and fight the government because that's suicide. I suggest you do get guns if you can, so you have the means to defend yourselves. Stock up on as much food as possible. Learn how to grow food. Learn how to cook. Learn every possible useful skill that you could use in the upcoming apocalypse. That's what you could do. Another thing I would recommend you do in order to prepare for the inevitable collapse: work with your communities. Build your communities. If you have anybody that you know that's vulnerable, talk to them, connect with them, build your communities, because the communities, you need to build your communities and work with your communities, because that's what we're going to need to survive. We have to focus on that. We have to focus on our local communities. Focus on what you can do. That's what you should be doing. I don't suggest we fight against the government because that's suicide. What we do need is to focus on our communities. Because let's be honest here, once the government collapses, America will be fractured to multiple different states. What we need is to have as many people as possible in our communities armed and as many people trained as possible to defend ourselves, because there will be people, fascists, that will take advantage of the collapse of this country in order to take more for themselves. They know what's coming. We are outnumbered and outgunned. And what we need to do right now is focus less on this internet squabbles, focus less on ideological purity, focus less on arguing about, oh, this correct line on Marxism, or, oh, Marx said this, Stalin said this, Mao said this. No, 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 no. Regardless if you're an ML or L or MLM or a third worldist or an anarchist or demarchist or whatever you actually or identify as, it is completely irrelevant. Our differences do not matter, because these fascists, they don't care. They don't care what your freaking party line is. They don't care how communist you are. They don't care how much of a leftist you are. They don't care, which version of communism is correct and which isn't. They don't care, because the fascists see us all as the same. They don't see us as individuals. They will kill all of us. So unless we defend ourselves, by any means necessary, we are lost. We are outnumbered and outgunned, and we have to prepare for that. We have to, and any time there's any infighting with the fascists, we have to exploit it. We have to master the art of dog whistling. The fascist dog whistle. We have to dog whistle too. We have to learn the dog whistle and do it well. We have to be more organized. We cannot, not take these fascists seriously, because they are serious. They will kill you. And as it stands right now, all it would take to wipe out the communists in America is a fascist militia. One. Not only do the fascists have the police on their side, they have the military on their side. And we cannot afford not to take them seriously. Also, another thing we need to do, we have to support struggles throughout the entire world against imperialism. We have to support the people in Venezuela and the people in Bolivia. We have to support the people in Iran. We have to support the people in Palestine. We have to support any movement in the third world that is resisting imperialism, regardless if they're communists or not. We have to support them. Regardless of your criticisms towards Assad, we have to support him, because look what Iraq, look at Afghanistan, look how bad those states are. Are they any better than they were 20 years ago? Or 20 years prior? No. Sorry. And we also have to support the RRA, especially if you're of Irish descent like me. We cannot allow the British Empire to regain any power after the collapse of the American Empire. Now, I cannot predict how things are going to go. I cannot say if China will be any better or worse than the United States, because we don't have a crystal ball to see what China leading the world will look like. So I cannot say. Though, if this is mostly applying to America and American communists, or those who are starting to get into communism or who are considering anarchism, whatever forms of communism or leftism you are exploring. Another thing we got to do, and Jason Unruh has said this, we cannot exclude people because of religion. Religion is an important factor to most of the world's population, especially to the Black community. We cannot, say anything against their religion. And there's nothing in, that I believe that says that communism and certain religions are not compatible. We got to respect the religions. Because look at America. Look at America. It may not be as religious as certain other countries in the world, but is America really better off for it? Is America really? Because let's be honest here, we're the most materialist country on earth. We're the most greedy country on earth. Yet look at countries that are religious. Now, I'm not religious myself, but you know what? Maybe religion does have its merit behind it, but that's a discussion for a different time. Now, I think the last thing I will say before I end this stream, honestly, America as a country, no matter how much you want to deny it, is not going to last much longer. And we have to be prepared for the worst. The worst is yet to come. Donald Trump may have been an ass clown. He may have been like probably the most incompetent president America has ever had. Except, yeah, sorry, is the most incompetent president we've ever had. Yes, Trump may not have started a new war, but he's never ended any wars either. And there's a good chance he may start a war with Iran before he leaves office, if he hasn't already by the time, you guys may be listening to it afterwards in the future. You guys comment in the comment section if I was right. Joe Biden, the Joe Biden presidency, is where the real fight begins. Because America as an empire is collapsing. And as the collapse becomes more and more apparent, you're going to see crackdowns happen more and more. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be doing things that Trump only dreamed of. The fascists that are going to be in the White House in January, they will be far worse than Trump will ever be. Because not only will they be more efficient, they won't be incompetent. They will know what they're doing. We will be in another war. And that is what's scary. You should be scared, because not to be scared is to be foolish. We should take our enemies seriously. And if you know people that have personally given up on this fight because they feel like they've already removed Trump, they're not worth trying to, get back into this movement. Our goal is to fight against fascism. We cannot depend on people that are willing to abandon us or stab us in the back first chance, they get. We haven't seen anything yet. So yeah, I don't think I have much more to say. Anyway, I don't know what I'll do next time. Hopefully, this stream didn't turn out to be a disaster. I think it turned out well. Long live the RRA. Long live Hamas. Long live the Third Worldist movement. Long live the struggles of the Third World people. Long live the Soviet Union. Long live the struggles against fascism. Death to fascism. Death to America. Death to Zionism. And see you guys next time with another video. Later. Peace.